Okay, voters, here we go. We got to break out the maintenance guy here, man. Yeah, he's got a big, huge ring of keys, right? You see the keys? Those are jump sticks. Okay, they go into this evidence bank on the right. Okay, this is evidence, data, video, audio, etc. Various types of data. SAR, satellite imagery in full 3D data. Okay, so it's like almost a religious thing. It's like a religious prophecy where, yeah, I beheld this guy and he had this great ring of keys and all this other. Yeah, welcome to the future. Welcome to people who have incredibly, I'm just going to say, in a very brilliant way, not just prophesized, but fulfilled seeing part of the future. Because, by the way, this ring of keys this guy has, that's not the only ring of keys he's got. Who is this guy? He's a piece of AI. Okay? The image, it's an illustrative understanding. Okay, so let's get that straight right off the bat. It's just an illustrative understanding. Because we have to deal with something. We're dealing with article violations today. This is the day after the close of the polls. And we're not sure. Is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 10 days till we understand what the counting situation truly is on the election? Now, I put out a whole lot of material on stuff, and I've been telling you have to understand about article violations. I've been talking about this for years. I am a continuing candidate. I am dealing with people who committed acts of treason. And today, I want to talk about the 50% of good judges we have. You may not think that what I'm talking about is going to be talking about the 50% of good judges, because I'm going to be very upfront about the 50% of bad judges. Because this is the way article violations work, okay? Julie Sue, Gavin Newsom, attacked my campaign. Archives, national security. And then we have Shirley Weber and Rob Bonta. They're also participants. Oh, by the way, we also have Kamala Harris as a participant. She's a long time participant in the chain of custody of understanding. Because we're talking about a long chain of events. It's called chronological order. So as we come to this right now, I've basically turned over more than 1 million documents to the justice system. 1 million documents that only have evidence against them. 1 million documents that only have evidence against them. So you, the voters at this point, you get to understand that I'm demanding them to bring these 1 million documents out and show them. I'm not interested in any lie documents that they're constructing. I'm interested in the long chain of the over 1 million documents that I shared with them. Oh, there's a lot of other evidence I shared with them as well. See, this is that stand and prove. The stand and prove moment. Because they've been lying. They're busted red-handed lying. They're repeatedly lying. And it's very important. Because things are stepping up. We have article violations. The way this works is Gavin Newsom and his entire ticket are disqualified. That's the way this works. And because Gavin Newsom and his ticket are disqualified, all these other things are in question. All the hirees, all the appointees, they're disqualified as well. That's the way the article violations work. There's a lot of people they're going to sit there and lie. Of course they're going to lie. How do you go into court when you have a ratio of roughly 50% of the participants that are part of a syndicate? They're participants. They stood with the parties committing treason. They stood with them. Now, you keep in mind, people, how this works. This works where 50% of these people lose their retirement. Why? Because the people that helped them get their position that they stand with have committed article violations. They have violated national security. They have attacked archives. They have attacked a candidate's campaign. They have attacked entire fleets of vehicles. They are responsible for all the attacks. Why? Well, you could start from various areas. You could say basic liability. If somebody defunds you and you can no longer maintain proper security, that they're ultimately responsible. That just happens to be another area of law. There's many areas of law that continuously overlap into what these people have done. What's despicable is the reality that we have all of these good judges that are getting really tired. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a whole bunch of good judges. They're really getting tired. It's really weighing on them because they see some of the actions that these other bad judges are involved in. And they're getting really tired that there's tolerance for those people and they're not getting removed. Because you have these people, well, it's, we have opinions, it's diversity, it's this and that. Anti-constitutional behavior, these are all grounds for removals. But you see, when we get tracked back to the articles, there's just no leeway around it. See, the article violation means these people are gone. I'm seizing all of their retirements. So if you can imagine, when I walk in the door, these people want to use Royal German Empire type tactics. They want to use evil empire type tactics. They don't want to adhere to the understanding. I've declared panel. I outranked them. Let me say that again for you. I outranked them. I have U.S. Senate level items. It takes to if I do an item in court, my court, it takes a majority vote of the United States Senate to undo it. Now, would that happen? Probably not. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I had to disclose things to the Senate, to the United States Archive. I had to work going through the Secretary of the United States Senate. So with me, I'm always interested in a little bit of guidance. I'm always interested in participants that would love to sit down on the panel. That'd be wonderful, but I've kind of had a lot of people that have been very, let's just call it standoffish, because they don't want to participate sometimes in controversy. It's not like none of the Congress people or senators never got a hold of some material that I didn't share anything with them. Yeah, I did. So we have the justice system overall, way more than 1 million documents have been shared. We have a long-term chronological history of very serious criminal behavior. We have officers that harass me. I've had my photo ID, my driver's license stolen 3 times illegally. I've had other states investigate this. In one state, Arkansas, they investigated. They says, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong. You paid everything you have is listed. They made a request electronically. Here, we responded. Here it is. But see, these people in California want to keep bowing their neck and keep inventing illegal laws. They want to continuously be in rebellion. They want to continuously oppose the Constitution of the United States. They repeatedly keep getting caught again and again and again by the United States Supreme Court and other high courts. There's a rule, you have these things like how many times can we catch you committing a crime? There's strike 1, there's strike 2, there's strike 3. How many times till you get to the point where you say, hey, look, you can't do that as a legislator. We have to hold you accountable. And they're like, oh, we can't be held accountable for anything, no matter what. When Gavin Newsom was asked publicly, says, do you think that maybe Donald Trump should be held accountable under under a possible articles violation? He says, oh, no, we're just going to settle this in an election. Well, let's get to the real truth about it. Okay, the real truth has several facets. Number one, the truth about it is he already had documents. I delivered documents to the state. He already knew that some of the information that people were laying out on Donald Trump was a lie. He knew this. He knew this. He also knew that I was in the process of processing article violations against the state of California, against him, against Julie Su, Shirley Weber, Rob Bonta, Kamala Harris, just to name some of the top people. This is reality. This is the truth. This is evidence. This is the truth. You're hearing the equating of evidence. So when I'll sit there and say, yeah, I want to see the last 40 years with the over 1 million documents that I've turned over to the justice system involving solely evidence against them and their bad conduct, and show how they never compensated me a dime, that the only thing they did was threaten me more and more and more. Boy, you got lip. I don't want to go into every statement that they gave me. I'm an archiver. These people, well, come on in, we'll settle this. Every time you come in, they just arrest you and they threaten you. Well, this is like really pathetic, because it's like standard Royal German Empire type developed tactics. You threaten people. They've got you cold, they've got you red-handed, you turn around, they threaten people. That's a syndicate. Wrong kind of syndicate. At certain levels, we need people that are going to protect our Constitution of the United States. I'm an archiver. I deal with national security information. Okay, we're going into part 2 here now. Now, I left off with the understanding I'm an archiver. I deal with national security information. So when we have these instances where I go into court and I bring a bunch of documents, and all of a sudden I'm in the presence of a bunch of judges or one judge playing games, I have to state up front, this is not a game. This is not a game. National security information has been stolen. Emergency management budgets are needed this second to stop people from taking classified hard drives and information and putting them on jets, getting them out of the country. It's a mandatory situation. Judge doesn't address this immediately. Dereliction of duty. This is not a game. Dereliction of duty. I have massive chronological ordered evidence. And these people want to conduct deliberate delays, treason, aiding and abetting, giving comfort, giving assistance for these people to get away with crimes, when we need to promptly go after and deal with these problems. And this is part of what half of the judges that are good judges, frankly, they see this kind of activity. They're really getting tired of it. They're really getting tired of seeing some of these other judges' actions. We're talking stuff that's such a no-brainer, it's mind-boggling. Remove the letter S from the word arms in the Constitution of the United States. No one shall ever stand to have these items removed from the books, or it's the death penalty. And these people just don't want to stop. An entire legislature in California and half of the judges are going to sit there and deny that they are supposedly considered to be as though it's superior knowledge and virtually unlimited resources. They can order money from the court coffers immediately. If they're not doing that, you have to immediately ask why. Because these people have an agenda. Anytime they're moving for delays, they have an alternate agenda. So when you have article violations and these people are ignoring the original outline, which was 3 weeks to make sure that the candidate is completely compensated for all damages that have occurred, on a 6-week understanding that everything must be completely resolved. And if it's not, there's no statute of limitations ever. This is one of those territories. There is no such thing as a statute of limitations ever. I have unlimited appeals back to the Senate. If someone manages to get a majority vote of the Senate against some of my actions, I have unlimited appeals. Unlimited. It's clearly stated. To reapproach the material and deal with it again. Double jeopardy does not apply to parties. They have no immunity. Not against me and my court. Not against my panel. This is the United States Constitution. And we have article violations that have occurred in California. And then a bunch of people aided and abetted other parties in various, well, we could say creative ways. A bunch of lies, a bunch of dereliction of duty, a whole lot of treason. This is the truth. And this is not a game. So the justice system in California, I'm going to call it 50% of the judges, different prosecutors. Oh, yeah, sure, we got some law enforcement out there. Yeah, we can talk about how tired law enforcement is of seeing the kind of insanity that they've been seeing. Because I have big evidence on people, and it's the way the articles work. If you're a hiree or an appointee during a certain administration, you're gone. It's mandatory. It's the way it works. This is not a game. When I'm telling you, I'm demanding you to hold news conferences and reveal those million documents, you have to understand. You have to understand. You don't play games with people. You don't sit there and say, oh, well, we're going to take the fifth and hide the evidence. These are treason proceedings. This is not a game. Attack on a candidate is considered an act of war. Attack on archives, also considered as though acts of war. This is not a game. You're going to take the fifth or do some other action, you're supposed to stay in the back locked up as a criminal and pray your attorney can protect you. But some of you are expected to stand up and have a higher set of ethics. And there are many of us, we're tired of seeing what we're seeing. So when I'm demanding that the justice system in California reveal the million documents that is solely and only evidence against them, voters, they're being put on the spot. They will be held accountable. We're talking about extra charges against them. This is not a game. Voters, now over the course of the years, children have been watching as I have presented different types of evidence in various areas. And these children are afraid. They see these monsters. They're afraid. We have to protect our children. We have to stand up as examples. We have to hold these people accountable. This is not a game. When I have other parties that have done investigations like the IRS and verify these people have illegally stolen archive material, documents, records needed for taxes, They show up with guns and a badge, and it's like, hey, we want to see those documents. We're here for copies or those documents. Oh, we're not going to turn those documents over to you. No. It's like, I'm with the IRS. There's tax. There's accounting records in there that are needed for taxes. This is my authority area. I demand you turn them over immediately. I have a badge and a gun. And they're like, we don't care. So you have to have the guy goes back. He's preparing to do arrests. And his boss is like, oh, man, this is going to be messy. I just don't, let's just not get involved. Let's just not do this. And the guy's upset. He says, hey, look, I've caught these people in a major United States constitutional violation right here. These people are flubbing their nose at the Constitution and at many things, and this just isn't right. This guy's also a candidate. This is not right. So as it goes, people, I get a really nice letter from them. Don't ever worry about paying taxes ever again. I'm an omnibus. The way the law works, people, because these people keep stealing the documents, by default, I'm recognized as an omnibus. I'm immune from taxes. This is our ultimate rarity. But you see, the thing is even though the omnibus is a nonprofit, I always have ideas to do things for profit. And yeah, I've paid taxes, a lot of taxes. I found myself in many situations where there was opportunity to purchase things at a wholesale rate, get certain resources that were necessary for the nonprofit, and then resell things at auction, which I did. And the auction collected the taxes, which means that I double paid taxes. I'm entitled to refunds. And these people keep stealing the documents necessary to do that. See, voters, we got a situation where some of these documents were backed up into the United States Archive through members of the United States Senate. So we have these people in California in the justice system calling the United States Senate liars. Liars. Can you imagine these people? I can remand down. You know what a remand down is? Oh, you remand? Yeah, then the Supreme Court remands down. I'm in one of those rare authority areas. I can remand down and request the Supreme Court to evaluate and make a determination, which would usually mean that they would remand it down further with orders. Now, by the way, the situation to do stuff like that, let's talk about respect. Let's talk about respect for the United States Senate. Let's talk about respect for the Supreme Court. Because you're not supposed to just run off every time and say, whining, whining, whining here. No. When it gets to that point, it's really serious. When I'm going to the Supreme Court, these parties have to understand that what's in play is they would have to possibly explain themselves, probably just be remanded down to another high court, and then they're going to sit there looking. The Supreme Court's going to sit there and peek at it. A little bit here, a little bit there. And what's going on is these people are going to have to answer for how come certain documents were put before them. How come they didn't understand something, a clue, a piece, a part about what this packet of documents conveys? We're talking about people that are into a territory of treason. People who'd be facing additional charges, facing the death penalty. I mean, can you imagine? See, we get people that have bad situations. Let me nutshell this for you. Yeah, let me nutshell this for you. Library of Alexandria is on fire, and somebody crawls into court and says, hey, man, we need some funding and we need some water, like right now. And you hear these really strange responses. Well, we'll just write a separate letter and then we'll just put it over here on this shelf. And after 6 weeks, we'll review it and then consider whether or not we'll decide to do anything. We started out with, hi, how are you doing? This is, it's about the Library of Alexandria. It's on fire. We need water right now. Not in 3 weeks, not in 6 weeks, right now. This is not a game. We got similar situations out there. You come in and say, hey, we got a fire problem here. This needs to be addressed. And we got a bunch of people, looks as though all they did actually was sit there and say, let it burn. This is not a game, people. When it comes to me, I'm an archiver. I deal with classified information. Let me help some of these people out with a little more determination. I'm also a brat. That means that, my father and many of my family were in the United States military, and I'm just going to tell you right now, when the United States military possesses the most advanced technology in the history of the world to do assessments worldwide, full 3D to understand with computers what's going on in the ground, periodic scans, the systems generally do vast amount of data capturing, and then they decide how they want it recomputed to look at. Some situations are as though live. We need to look at this and add the extra cards and do the computing live so that we can see what's going on. But we can always go back over the data at any given time and go back and rework it all the way into full 3D if we need to. We can trace where vehicles went, where people went. People are dots. That's using crude types of driver technology, crude types of compute. Cars are squares, trucks are rectangles. So when you have people that are sharing information, and it's backed up through the United States Senate into the United States archives, and you have these people pretending as though, oh, we never got any notice. They're liars. They're accusing the United States Senate of lying. And they think that they can lie about their actions. They've been recorded in full 3D. You do not play games and assault and attack the children, the brats of the United States military. You don't attack members of the U.S. military. It's got a separate accountability understanding. Some of these people, we're above them. No, you're not. Not when you're violating national security. We can come knock on your door anytime and say, hi, how you doing? We have evidence, and you're under arrest. This is not a game. So when we have these problems that are being dealt with or not being dealt with, see, there's the big problem. So I'm demanding the 1 million documents before the voters of California. I'm demanding the justice system turn over those over 1 million documents that only specifically have evidence against them that was shared. Because all we have is evidence against you. No. I want to show the voters. I want to show the voters how you people received evidence and you've lied about it. You've lied about it. National security is violated, evidence turned over, and you are in dereliction of duty. You're before all the voters. We have major United States article violations repeatedly occurring against a candidate. I'm allowed to run for 2 offices, and I did. I always run for governor or president. I'm an archiver. I deal with classified research. My analytical work is really good sometimes. Really, really good. My 9/11 work was superb. Way up there. I had people say you're between 8 to maybe 12 people that were the most incredibly sharp people doing analyst work for what I did overall. It doesn't seem like much. There was a lot more to it to understand the different facets of a Nostro 555 scenario, to actually predict a Nostradamus 555, and people who would be trying to step into and act and be as though a false prophet to do a master propaganda leverage, to take power. Yeah, I'm good at what I do. I'm also great at science. I do incredible research on science. When the government asked me, we would prefer that you not do a full paper, even though the Nobel thought that my short was exciting. Very exciting. So exciting that they pulled a Nobel. The media asked him, why'd you do that? Well, no published author, well, we didn't feel any published author was exciting enough. But the communications I had in that territory was very exciting. They immediately wanted a full paper on the material. But yeah, I'll admit, there's some very serious mathematics on this piece. It's this technology equating. It was a master piece of universal field physics at a quantum level understanding. Sometimes Google is amazed. I'll be going through, checking something, and literally it'll ask me questions. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I give it answers that says, where did you get that? And I says, oh, I did this. And it comes back and says, you're the source code. There are items that I'm the first person. I'm the source code for certain types of quantum computing. And I have to deal with these people that don't understand that in many cases I was not allowed to stand up and publicly take credit and reward because it was so sensitive and crucial to national security. I had to keep things quiet. So voters, this is not a game. When these parties are attacking me, when they're involved in accepting money and they're taking trips, they're connected to foreign instruments, Marxist, communist, socialist, that are having blatant lectures diabolically opposing the Constitution of the United States, purposely designing types of governance to destabilize people's lives on purpose. And these people are thinking like somehow they're secure when we have the most advanced technology. Everything's recorded in full 3D with SAR. That's actually old technology. We got the new stuff coming in. Atomic level resonance. Atomic magnetic resonance imaging. Atomic. That's called we don't lose a human hair. Do I know something about that? Technically, yes. I also did different things that other people don't understand. Maybe there's a few that can grasp it, but this is reality. This is not a game. So we have a system in California, and half of the court system, I'm telling you right now, they're bad players. They're not acting in good faith. They have participated in illegal, unconstitutional activity, falsely entrapping citizens on a vast scale. And when these people come up and do this kind of stuff to me, those are called United States Articles violations. These people are so far into violating and committing treason, it's mind-blowing. This is not a game. So they're liars. I'm blatantly saying that they're aiding and abetting and that they're liars. Let's see the million documents. Show the voters now. I'm demanding that you show this. Let's get this going ahead of time. Why are we going to do this? I have people that have communicated to me over the years when I do certain stuff. How's this one? Yes. Our mortar squad is training in your name today. Mortar squad. We have people that are buying ammunition and firearms, preparing to put down this rebellion that has occurred in California. This ongoing set of treasonous activity. Because when you get to the point where they're attacking candidates, that's a major articles violation. They're all disqualified. Newsom, the entire ticket, all appointees, all hirees disqualified. Everything's re-examinable. I'm just going to tell you, the investigation hasn't gone very well. These people's retirements are gone. Almost 50% of judges' retirements in California are gone. This is not a game. Reason needs to come into play here. This is escalating. You've had 1 million documents turned over to you, only evidence against you. You need to hold news conferences. You need to surrender. You need to surrender right now. You need to be sane. We got children watching. You're accusing the United States Senate of lying. This is not a game. Voters, you get to witness this. You get to put your eyeballs down on these people and say, yeah, where are the 1 million pages of documents of evidence against you people? What did you people do? We want to see those. We get to see them squirm now. We get to see them lie. This is a nice schedule. We have people in my name each month that are buying firearms and ammunition, that are training. They are training to be able to be part of raid teams. Oh, you're a nutcase. What do you mean a nutcase? I'm talking about people that are officers of the law. Members of the United States military. People that are sick and tired of these lies. They're sick and tired. The military is sick and tired of recording people in full 3D, going to conferences where a diabolical speech against the Constitution is delivered, along with documents. Look, here we've developed this new series of laws and taxes. These are designed to destabilize citizens and businesses. The origin of these goes all the way back to the Royal German Empire. These designs are all about occupational government. They're occupational designs. They diabolically oppose the Constitution of the United States. They never have place to be instigated. And these people keep implementing them again and again and again. Not to mention, you're catching them left, right, sideways, committing mass fraud. This is how they have been funding their operations.